All right, my fellow heroes of DeFi Kingdoms, welcome back to the coolest corner of Crystal Vale. It's your frosty friend Frosty, here to bring you another Frosty Fresh episode. Now today, I've got something truly special for you. We're diving into a brand new podcast that's about to sweep across the realms, straight from two absolute legends. Let me introduce you to the hosts of Heroes of the Blockchain. First up, he's as wise as he is, well, let's say, hydrated. The man who can balance the blockchain while balancing a tankard, the drunk monk. And alongside him is the ever-enchanting sorceress who's about to cast some serious spells on your Web3 knowledge, Sable the Spellcaster. Together, these two are taking you on a magical journey through DeFi Kingdoms, Web3 gaming, and all the epic adventures that lie ahead. So sit back, grab your favorite potion, and get ready as I hit play on the very first episode of Heroes of the Blockchain. Let's go! This is bullish. Emerson is awesome.
A new song for a podcast called Heroes of the Blockchain, featuring the drunk monk and Sable the Spellcaster.
All right, everyone, so DeFi Kingdoms just got a whole lot more interesting. We're diving deep into player versus player combat today.
Yeah.
And a really intriguing new system they're calling influence.
Absolutely. And you are going to come away from this with a major strategic advantage in the game after listening to this.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think this is a really cool update.
Yeah.
DeFi Kingdoms has always been about, more than just battling, right? Like, your decisions have always mattered in the game.
Right.
But this is like next level.
It is. It's always been about more than just battling, but this is really going to let you shape the future of the game.
Yeah, and it's like they took this fantasy world and said, okay, here are the keys to the kingdom.
Right.
Well, maybe not the whole kingdom.
Yeah.
But you're going to have some serious pull with this new update. One of the things I think is so cool about this is how you earn influence in the first place.
Right.
So you're going to be pledging your heroes to a new area called Submergia. And it's not just like you're sending them on a little errand.
No. This is a commitment.
Right.
You're talking about 1 to 6 months that you're going to be pledging these heroes.
Wow.
Yeah. But the reason why that's so important is because it generates a constant stream of influence that flows back to you. So it's almost like your heroes are earning interest for you in the game, but every single day.
Wow. So the longer you have them pledged, the more influence that you're building up. That's huge, especially if this influence unlocks all the cool stuff. Like you were saying, there's conclusion battles and all this. Yeah. Can you give me an example? Like, how would I use influence to actually impact, let's say, a battle?
So picture this. 2 players, they're going head-to-head in this epic duel.
Okay.
Now you, as a spectator, you've got skin in the game. You, through the spectator system, can use your influence to essentially cast a vote, bet on a winner, and if you're right, you get some seriously awesome rewards. So you're not just watching the action unfold, you are tipping the scales.
So I could actually, like, impact who wins a battle.
Potentially, yes. Your influence has weight.
That's wild. Okay, so influence is really important for these battles.
Right.
But you were saying that there's even more to it than that.
Oh, absolutely. We've only just scratched the surface here. Remember when we were talking about player versus player combat? That's coming soon.
Yeah.
Well, influence is going to be your ticket to the best, the most sought-after battles in the game. The more influence you have, the more of these epic showdowns you get to participate in. It's like getting your VIP pass to the main event.
Oh, okay. So, like, if you snooze on influence, you're going to miss out.
100%. You've got to be strategic.
Wow. This isn't just about playing the game today. This is about securing your spot at the top in the future.
Exactly. You've got to think long-term.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, the developers have even hinted that there's more uses for influence coming down the line. So what we're seeing now is just the beginning.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we got to think in long term. We got to be building up that influence.
Yeah.
But you know what else goes great with influence? Epic gear.
Of course.
And lucky for us, the Crystal Vale Equipment Shop is officially open for business.
It is, and not a moment too soon. No more freebies from the Hunters Guild.
Right.
If you want to have a chance, you've got to come with the big boys. You've got to have equipment.
So walk me through this a little bit.
Okay.
I'm picturing swords glowing with magical energy, armor that would make a dragon jealous? Like, how does this shop actually work? What do I have to do to snag the best stuff?
Well, every piece of equipment has a base price,
Okay.
but that price can go up or down depending on how many people are buying it. So, you know, it's all supply and demand, right?
Right.
We call that the decay rate. It's
Yeah.
like a market, a living, breathing market right there in the game.
Decay rate. Okay, so that sounds a little intimidating. Tell me more about that.
Well, don't worry. It's not as scary as it sounds. It's all about timing, really. So let's say you need to pick up a really powerful new sword for a battle that's coming up. You could buy it now at a premium, make sure you have it. Or you could wait a couple days and see if the price goes down. So it's all about, again, risk versus reward.
Gotcha. Okay, so strategic shopping is key here. Knowing when to buy could be the difference between a great deal
Absolutely.
and a total ripoff.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of opportunities, tell me those level 20 heroes are about to get a whole lot more powerful. What's the deal with moksha drops?
Okay, so if you have a level 20 hero who has completely maxed out their XP starting on October 2nd, they are basically treated as a level 25 when it comes to moksha drops.
Hold on. So you're telling me that those players who have put in the work, who've maxed out their heroes, they're about to be swimming in awesome loot.
The rewards are about to get even better.
Yeah, now that's how you reward dedication.
Right. You've got to reward the players that are, you know, putting in the time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Because those moksha drops are how you get some of the rarest, most powerful items in the game.
Exactly. And now those high-level heroes have an even better chance of finding them.
It's like the game is saying, hey, we see your effort. We see that you're grinding, that you're, battling, that you are leveling up your heroes.
Yeah.
And we are rewarding you for it.
Absolutely.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got strategic influence building.
Right.
A dynamic new marketplace, boosted rewards for all the dedicated players out there. I mean, Defikingdoms is really upping their game.
They are.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see how much the game is evolving, and I think that's what makes it so fun.
Right, because it's not just happening in the digital world either.
Right.
I mean, there's a ton of real-world buzz around Defikingdoms too.
Absolutely.
AMAs,
Yeah.
Twitter Spaces.
Yep.
There's even, I think, a real-life event happening in Salt Lake City.
There is.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Merch, giveaways, even tickets to Karate Combat.
They're going all out.
It's going all out. And that's what makes Defikingdoms so unique.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just about what's happening on the screen. It's about the community.
Right.
It's about shared experiences.
For sure.
Bringing people together.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
So we've talked about building influence. We talked about getting all this cool new gear. We talked about the moksha drops. But how does this all work in the game? What are we actually doing with all this?
Right. Like, it's one thing to understand it all on paper, but how do we put it into practice?
Exactly. So let's say I'm sitting down, I'm ready to play some Defikingdoms, I'm ready to make some power moves. Where do I even begin?
Well, I think the first thing you have to wrap your head around is submersia and how much you really want to commit to this new area.
Okay.
Because remember, pledging your heroes, it's a long-term strategy.
Yeah, so it's kind of like choosing between a sprint and a marathon. They can both get you to the finish line,
Right.
but they take very different approaches.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you're in it for the long haul, if you're really looking to dominate those leaderboards down the line, I think dedicating at least a few heroes to submersia, it's a smart move. You are going to be steadily generating influence, and that's going to give you a huge leg up, especially when those PvP battles finally launch.
So it's kind of like you're setting yourself up for a power play in the future. You might not see the benefits immediately, but you are laying the groundwork.
Exactly. Think of it like an investment. You're not going to get rich overnight, but if you're playing that long game, that's where the real rewards are.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so while our heroes are off building up our influence, we've got another important task. We got to hit up the Crystal Vale equipment shop.
Yes. Got to look the part if you want to be the best.
Right. But with those fluctuating prices, it seems like I need to be like a master strategist just to buy a sword.
Well, think of it this way. Every purchase is a mini game in itself. It's part of the fun. Let's say you really need a new helmet for your warrior. You check the shop, and the price is outrageous. What do you do?
If I'm desperate, I may just have to bite the bullet and buy it anyway, especially if I've got a big battle coming up.
Right.
But if I've got a little time to play with.
Then you strategize. You watch the market, you keep an eye on that decay rate, maybe the price dips in a couple days, and you get that same helmet for half the price. It's all about timing and a little bit of luck.
Okay, so patience pays off. But you also got to know when to act fast or you might miss out, right?
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance. knowing when to hold 'em, knowing when to fold 'em, as they say.
Love it. Okay, and speaking of high-stakes opportunities, we can't forget about those moksha drops. This is huge for players with those maxed out heroes.
Huge. It's all about rewarding dedication.
Right. So paint me a picture here. I've got my level 20 hero. They are maxed out. They are ready to conquer the Sundered Isles.
A true champion in the making.
Exactly, a true champion. And now they've got even better odds of finding those super rare items.
And not just any items, we're talking game changers.
Yes, the kind of gear that could turn the tide of any battle. It's like all their hard work, all that grinding, it's all led up to this.
Exactly. It's like the game is saying, hey, we see you, we see the effort you're putting in, and we're rewarding you for it.
It's a really cool system. It's like the more you put in, the more you get out. And that to me just seems fair, right?
Absolutely. Reward the players who are dedicated.
But it's not just about, individual players becoming these, like, unstoppable powerhouses either, right?
No, it's bigger than that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like all these changes, the influence, the equipment, the moksha drops, it's all connected. It's like they're creating this more dynamic and competitive world overall.
100%. And it's a world where your decisions actually matter.
Yes. And that's what I love about it. Like, it's one thing to play a game where you're just following a set path, but in Defikingdoms, your choices have real weight.
Exactly. And the really exciting part, we're just getting started. There's so much more to come.
You're right. There's so much potential here. And, speaking of potential, I think it's really cool how Defikingdoms is bringing the community together, especially with that event happening in Salt Lake City. Right. What do you think about that?
I think it's awesome. It goes beyond just playing the game, It creates a real sense of community. It's like they're saying, hey, we're not just some faceless developers. We're real people building something we're passionate about, and we want you to be a part of it.
Exactly. It's like bridging the gap between the digital world and the real world.
And who doesn't love some cool merch? Giveaways? I mean, they're really going all out.
I know. And, those karate combat tickets sound pretty sweet, too. But I think this event also shows something really important. This isn't just about one game. It's about the future of gaming itself, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like we're witnessing a whole new era where games are becoming more than just games. We're talking communities, economies, even social movements.
It's amazing to be a part of. So for those listening who are thinking, okay, all of this sounds incredible, but where do we go from here?
That's the exciting part. Nobody knows for sure. Defikingdoms is all about pushing boundaries, about constantly evolving. This is just the beginning.
I love that. It's like a living, breathing world, always changing. So to all you listeners out there, as you jump back into Defikingdoms, remember one thing. The future is in your hands.
Yeah.
This is your chance to make your mark on the Sundered Isles.
Get out there, explore, experiment, and most importantly, have fun.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And there you have it, folks. Another deep dive into the incredible world of Defikingdoms. Until next time, happy gaming.
A new song for a podcast called Heroes of the Blockchain, featuring the Drunk Monk and Sable the Spellcaster. An intro song for a podcast called Heroes of the Blockchain, featuring the Drunk Monk and Sable the Spellcaster. An intro song for a podcast called Heroes of the Blockchain, featuring the Drunk Monk and Sable the Spellcaster. An intro song for a podcast called Heroes of the Blockchain, featuring the Drunk Monk and Sable the Spellcaster. Intro song for a podcast called Heroes of the Blockchain, featuring the Drunk Monk and Sable the Spellcaster. An intro song for a podcast called Heroes of the Blockchain, featuring the Drunk Monk and Sable the Spellcaster.